The courtroom was silent. Not the kind of silence that feels calm, but the kind that feels like the air itself is holding its breath. A young man stood before Judge Judy, his voice trembling, hands shaking, words barely escaping his lips. "Please," he whispered, "I just want a chance to make things right." For a moment, even Judge Judy didn't respond. Her eyes, sharp as ever, softened. Not much, just enough for the audience to notice. What could make a man like this fall apart on national television? What had he done? Every camera was pointed at him. The bailiff shifted slightly. Even the audience, people used to seeing drama unfold in this courtroom, were frozen. Something about this wasn't just another case. It felt personal, real, heavy. The young man's name was Ethan Cole, and the words that followed would not only change his life, but echo far beyond that courtroom. It all began years earlier. Ethan wasn't always the man trembling in front of a judge. Once he was bright, hopeful, the kind of kid teachers loved to brag about. But life has a way of testing even the strongest. His parents split when he was 16. His mother worked 2 jobs, barely keeping the lights on. His father vanished into silence and distance. Ethan tried to hold it all together, but hope doesn't always survive hardship. After losing his college scholarship due to failing grades, Ethan drifted. Wrong friends, wrong choices, wrong crowd. It wasn't that he was bad, he was lost. Then came the one mistake that would change everything. He stole $3,000 from a community fund meant to help underprivileged kids. Money raised by his former mentor, Mrs. Porter, the woman who once believed he could be something more. Now he stood accused in front of Judge Judy, claiming innocence. "I didn't take it," he insisted. His voice cracked, desperation mixing with denial. But evidence, oh the evidence, painted a darker picture. Bank transfers, text messages, witness statements. Every line of defense fell apart. Judge Judy's questions cut through him like a scalpel. "You expect me to believe this happened by accident? That someone just used your name?" The tension grew thicker. Every lie he tried to tell seemed to crumble beneath the weight of her stare. And then, as if something inside him broke, Ethan stopped talking. His eyes welled up, and for the first time, he spoke the truth. "I did it," he whispered. The room went still again. Judge Judy leaned forward. "Why?" That one word sliced through the silence. He took a breath, then said the words that would change everything. "My sister was sick. The insurance wouldn't cover her surgery. I didn't know what else to do." Gasps rippled through the courtroom. His attorney dropped his pen. Even Mrs. Porter's eyes filled with disbelief. Judge Judy didn't move. She'd heard every excuse in the book, lies dressed as desperation. But something about Ethan's confession was different. He wasn't just saying it to win sympathy. He was saying it because it was true. Judge Judy's brow furrowed. "You think that makes it right?" "No," Ethan said. "It just makes it real." The judge requested evidence. Hospital records, texts, bank receipts. And when the documents arrived, every line confirmed his story. The money had gone straight to the medical center. No luxury purchases, no hidden transfers, just a brother, trying, in the wrong way, to save his sister's life. Judge Judy sat back, silent. Then, for the first time in years of television, she paused longer than anyone expected. When she finally spoke, her voice was steady, deliberate, and unexpectedly gentle. "Mr. Cole," she said, "what you did was wrong, but I believe the intent behind it wasn't selfish. It was desperate. And desperation doesn't erase guilt, but it changes what justice should look like." Then came her verdict, the one no one saw coming.
Instead of prison or a harsh fine, she sentenced Ethan to something different: community restitution, counseling, a full year of service to the very program he had stolen from. It wasn't an escape, it was a challenge, a chance to rebuild. Ethan collapsed into tears. Mrs. Porter, watching him, stepped forward and said words that made the audience gasp. "I forgive you, Ethan." In that moment, the courtroom wasn't about law anymore. It was about humanity. A year passed. The same community center, where Ethan had once betrayed trust, now echoed with laughter. Children ran across its creaky floors, and the middle of it all was Ethan. Sleeves rolled up, helping, teaching, giving back. Every morning he arrived early, unlocking doors, setting up tables, greeting kids with, "You matter. You still have time to make things right." Mrs. Porter watched from the doorway, unsure at first if trust could truly return. But trust doesn't always return with words. It returns with actions. And Ethan's actions spoke louder than anything he'd ever said. He worked tirelessly, helped raise new funds, mentored teens who reminded him of himself. Slowly, he rebuilt what he broke. One afternoon, while painting a mural with the kids, Mrs. Porter approached him. "You've more than paid your debt," she said softly. Ethan smiled. "Maybe. But rebuilding trust isn't about paying debt. It's about proving you won't break it again." Months later, Judge Judy received a letter. Simple handwriting. No excuses, no requests. It read, "Your Honor, you saw something in me I didn't see in myself. You gave me punishment that taught me more than prison ever could. I've learned forgiveness isn't something people give you. It's something you earn. I'm still earning mine." She folded it, placed it in her journal, and wrote 5 words underneath it. "Sometimes mercy is the verdict."
And as the screen fades to black, a soft voice leaves one final promise. In our next story, a mother stands before Judge Judy, and her confession leaves the courtroom in tears. Don't miss it. The screen lingers for a moment longer on that closing line, the words, "Don't miss it," glowing faintly before fading into darkness. Then the music softens, a slow, haunting piano melody beneath a final reflection, the kind that stays with viewers long after the video ends. Because deep down, this story isn't about a single verdict or a single act of mercy. It's about all the people who carry mistakes they think can never be undone, the silent battles no one else can see. It's about what happens when someone, anyone, decides that a person's worst moment doesn't have to define their entire life. Somewhere tonight, another young man sits in a small apartment, staring at a bill he can't pay, wondering if the next wrong choice will destroy everything. Somewhere, a mother is crying over a son who's lost his way. Somewhere, a person who's been hurt wonders if forgiveness is even possible. And maybe, just maybe, this story will remind them that it is. Ethan's name may never make history books. He might never be famous or celebrated. But the lives he's touched, the kids who now believe they can rise from their mistakes, those are his legacy. A legacy born not from perfection, but from persistence. Judge Judy once said in an interview, "You can't fix people by humiliating them. You fix them by showing them what strength really looks like." And she did exactly that. She saw through the anger, through the fear, and into the heart of a man who just needed one more chance to stand up. Ethan proved that redemption isn't instant. It's earned, one day, one act, one decision at a time. Every morning he showed up at that center. Every time he helped a child study or wiped away their tears, he was rebuilding something sacred, trust. And every person who witnessed it saw how the law, when guided by humanity, can change more than just behavior. It can change lives. So the next time you see someone fall, before you judge them, ask yourself, what would you want someone to see in you? Your failure or your fight to rise again? If this story reached your heart, if it made you feel something real, don't just scroll past. Share it. Because there's someone out there who needs to be reminded that their story isn't over yet. In a world quick to cancel, quick to condemn, Ethan Cole's journey stands as a quiet rebellion, a reminder that second chances aren't a gift for the undeserving. They're a mirror showing us who we could become if given grace. When Judge Judy read that letter, she didn't just see words. She saw proof. Proof that the human spirit, when believed in, can rise from almost anything. And maybe, just maybe, that's the truest form of justice. So tonight, as the story fades to black and the credits roll, remember this: justice might draw lines, but compassion redraws them. And in that space between punishment and mercy lies the kind of power that changes the world, one forgiven heart at a time. And when the final note of music fades, a new title appears across the screen, promising another story, another truth, another chance to feel something real. Next time, a mother's confession stops Judge Judy mid-sentence, and her secret will change everything. The screen cuts to black. The words "to be continued" appear quietly, leaving viewers in silence, the kind of silence that doesn't end when the video stops playing, but follows them into their thoughts, whispering the same question again and again. What if forgiveness could save more lives than judgment? And as that question echoes in the quiet, the scene shifts once more, not back to the courtroom, but to a slow montage of life moving forward. The city hums in the background, sunlight glinting off windows, children spilling out of schoolyards laughing, and there, in the midst of it all, Ethan walks down the sidewalk. His steps are steady now, purposeful. The man who once stood trembling before Judge Judy now carries himself with quiet confidence, as if every scar on his soul has become a reminder of the life he rebuilt from the ground up. He pauses at a crosswalk, glancing toward a small poster taped to a lamppost, a flyer for a charity drive supporting families in need. Without second thought, he pulls a pen from his pocket and signs his name at the bottom. Volunteer Ethan Cole. The narrator's voice returns, calm and reflective. It's easy to forget that sometimes the smallest acts carry the greatest redemption. For Ethan, it wasn't about erasing his mistake. It was about rewriting what came after. Cut to the youth center, the same place he once betrayed. But now the walls are brighter. The mural he painted with the kids has been expanded. Across the top, in bold blue letters, it reads, "Hope starts here, because someone believed in me." The camera pans to the kids sitting in a circle around him. He's telling them a story, not about crime or punishment, but about courage. You don't have to be perfect to make a difference, he tells them. You just have to care enough to keep trying. One little boy raises his hand. "Mr. Cole, did you ever think you'd end up here again?" Ethan smiles, the kind of smile born from pain that's been healed. He says, "Every day. But now, I thank God that I did." Outside the window, Mrs. Porter watches, her heart full. The woman who once saw him as a disappointment now sees him as the man he was meant to be all along. She turns to another volunteer and says quietly, "Judge Judy didn't just change his life, she changed mine. She reminded me that forgiveness isn't a favor, it's a bridge." And that's what this story has been from the very beginning. A bridge between guilt and grace, between who we were and who we can become. The music swells softly again, strings and piano weaving together, as the narrator delivers the final reflection. Some people think justice means paying for what you've done, but maybe real justice means giving someone a reason to be better. Ethan's story proved that even when we fall to our lowest, one act of mercy can raise us higher than we've ever been. Judge Judy was playing faintly over the montage, a real clip from her court show. She says sternly, "Don't lie to me," then pauses before adding more softly, "But don't give up on yourself either." The contrast is striking. The toughness, the humanity, the balance that defines her legacy. She's not just a judge. She's a mirror, showing us what fairness looks like when blended with empathy. As the video nears its end, the narrator poses one last question to the audience. What about you, friends? Who in your life needs a second chance? Is there someone waiting for forgiveness? Or maybe are you the one waiting to forgive yourself? A long pause follows, that deliberate silence that lets the words sink in. Maybe tonight's the night to start again. The music fades into a gentle heartbeat rhythm, the screen transitioning to black and white photographs. Ethan with the kids, Mrs. Porter smiling, Judge Judy at her bench. Then white text fades in slowly. Redemption doesn't erase the past. It gives it meaning. The final moments hold that image still as the narrator whispers, "If you believe in the power of second chances, share this story. Let it reach someone who needs to be reminded that it's not too late." Because sometimes one shared story can spark 1,000 redemptions. The screen fades completely to black, and for a breathless instant, there's nothing. Just silence. Then one final voiceover